Hello, good evening, and welcome back to a brand new, exciting episode of Video Ditch, hosted by me, Sam, and my co-host, Nick.
I'm not living in a jail cell. I'm not living in a hotel because I burned down my house. Do not acknowledge anyone who says anything otherwise. They do not know what they're talking about.
Yeah, he's reporting in from parts unknown, and that's all I can say.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And I guess a light little update with me. I don't have a fucked up eye right now. The demon was unsealed.
Unfortunately,
yeah.
He unleashed the beast.
Yeah, so. And what misfortune I brought, because in an exciting turn of events, we have a follow-up to last week's news to get us started for today's episode before we dive into the independent developers at Xbox showcase.
That's right. Xbox tried to pull the wool over everyone's eyes, just like Blizzard, anytime they have a misconduct case, to put it nicely, where they're like, oh, did we do that? Well, here, look, this character's gay, so let's just sweep
Just
that
in
under
time
the
for,
rug.
Well, Pride Month just passed, but yeah. So, following up to last week's news with the FTC, facing off against Microsoft and them not wanting to acquire Activision Blizzard. Do you have any guess on how it shook out?
Probably not well for Microsoft.
Surprisingly well for Microsoft. They got the judge was on their side, basically approved the acquisition. And they're like, this is a historic case, and we've treated it with the right precedent. And they cited because they committed to keeping Call of Duty multi-platform, it's all good. And so they're letting them do their thing.
In the words of the nerd, what does FTC stand for exactly? Fraudulent turd chompers? They totally dropped the ball.
Yeah.
This was their chance to totally ream Microsoft, Activision, and Blizzard, and they just completely messed up.
I really thought that was what was going to happen. So when
Absolutely
I saw the results
unforgivable.
today, yeah, very strange. I think the way that they worded their statement about since they're keeping Call of Duty multi-platform,
Yeah, the
Call of
judge
Duty
is just a big Call of Duty fan. He's like, listen, as someone who's reached prestige status in every Call of Duty, I could never go against my beloved Microsoft.
Yeah, it's either that or they have such a little understanding of video games. Just Call of Duty's the big one, right? So as long as that one is,
he's like, what do you mean Infinity Ward is the developer? Like a photograph? They put the film in the red stuff and then it turns into a game?
Yeah.
I don't care how the sausage is made.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Pretty crazy to hear about. Strange, I'm not sure what the implications of this are going to be, already, I mean, they've committed pretty hard to keeping their exclusive Bethesda stuff, on Microsoft and Windows only, or Xbox and Windows, rather.
I think this is the beginning of the laissez-faire economics period for gaming in the worst way possible. We're about to see child labor in gaming. We're about to see unrestricted just market manipulation. We're going to see a lot more shovelware. It's going to be the Wii on a much wider scale.
Okay. What a frightening thought.
I would bet on it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think...
I would bet on it.
Yeah.
I would place a bet on it.
Well, you can't place a bet on something so, abstract.
How wrong you are.
We're going to... Well, okay. I suppose... It depends on how we quantify it.
What's the over-under on a piece of shit being announced tomorrow?
Well, I mean, there's pieces of shit announced today, so...
That's true.
We'll get to it. I wanted to bring that up because it was directly related to last week's episode. Do you have any closing thoughts on what this new era of market domination Microsoft's going to go through?
Normally, I'm not in favor of the powers that be who control the world economy, but in this case, I feel like they should have taken that big stick and swung it directly into Microsoft's head and left a big club-shaped dent, and they completely whiffed it, and it's beyond embarrassing for them. It's
very strange. And, discourse on the internet is obviously as tasteful and cordial as you'd expect. A lot of Xbox. It's like the console wars are raging again, It's like they
never really stopped. It was more of a Cold War.
Yeah, recently it's been cold, but now it's just you Sony ponies are so salty.
Yeah.
You know, hail Daddy Microsoft.
Sony
Phil
ponies,
Spencer.
Nintendrones.
Yeah.
I don't remember the Xbox one.
I don't know. They're
X
X-bones.
bitches.
Yeah.
X boners. Exoprimals.
But yeah. That was the exciting follow up to that. And, you know, moving forward to drown into the sea of content, you know, hilariously with today's showcase was Microsoft showcasing their independent developers at Xbox. I didn't realize that's what the ID stood for.
Yeah, I thought it was the guys who made Doom.
Yeah, right, like id Software.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. How wrong we were. They had like a little history piece about it, you know, like, oh, this program's been going on for like since the Xbox 360.
Yeah, news to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I had never heard of it before today.
Yeah. So there were a few announcements. I'd say not everything caught our eye. I have about like eight or so games that, you know, I could bounce off of you, and you
go ahead.
You give me the usual.
Go right ahead. You know, let's see, Axiom Verge 2
Oh, there you go.
came out quite a while ago, so I don't really think that counts, but I liked Axiom Verge 1.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like, I feel like that's like saying, oh, you guys ever play Super Metroid? Now it's on Xbox. Now, new Xbox release, Super Metroid. Like, yeah, it's a good game, but you can't really say it's an Xbox indie release.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you there. That's great that you bring that up. I didn't know whether to bring Axiom Verge, but
I did like Axiom Verge 1.
Yeah. It looks good. The modern Metroidvania. I was gonna ask, do you have a new word for that? New genre type?
A new
bloated
bloated piece of shit. Bloated time waster. I feel like that's what 90% of them are, is just bloat. I'd say, you know, for the most part, leave it to Konami, and even then, they don't always hit the nail on the head. Not everything can be an aria of sorrow. Mm-hmm. Not everything can be pure perfection.
Yeah, Soma Cruz Castlevania.
Yeah, honestly, I would prefer to have just instead of a Metroidvania, just a Castlevania would be nice, I would say. I've been longing for a Castlevania game. The only one that I played that's even close was the first Curse of the Moon. I thought that was really good.
Okay.
And that's about it as far as I know.
Yeah. I feel like they've tried to come back within like the last console generation. You had high profile stuff like was it Bloodstained?
Well, that's a Metroidvania. That's a bloated piece of shit type. Or
I see.
You see, a cat. I'm talking about like
important.
Something closer to Rondo of Blood.
Oh, just like
is what I'm talking about. Like pure action platformer.
Okay.
You know, something fun, not like consulting a map and placing markers and like, oh well, you know, I didn't tap this wall. Maybe there's a boss behind it, or maybe there's jack shit. You know, let me agonizingly, painstakingly tap every single wall that might have something behind it, and maybe I'll be able to progress in the game. I've only been playing for about
go
120 hours. I think that I'm on the verge of the halfway point here.
Okay, that's fair. I've never really, I don't think I've ever stuck one out, like a proper.
Symphony of the Night's good. It's the original. Aria of Sorrow's better. I'm not gonna back down on that one.
Mm-hmm. I heard the Game Boy Advance ones were good.
It is.
Yeah. And then there was the DS sequel and such, but
yeah, people like it. Dawn of Sorrow, I didn't play it. I didn't like the art style. They went from the beautiful what's the name? Kojima? Not that Kojima, different Kojima to like generic 2000s anime, which I even at the time I didn't like. Even as a big Japanophile
reaction to that, yeah. Be taking like Yoji Shinkawa's art from Metal Gear, and then putting like some shitty ass.
Yeah, and then putting like Fortnite filter on it or something.
Okay. Ooh. All right, well, Axiom Verge 2. That's off to a good start. There was the Hellboy game. Now,
the voice is very jarring.
Okay.
I know that the weird accent wasn't Hellboy, but the fact that it's not Ron Perlman. I know it hasn't been for a long time, but I still do not like it.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's really my only exposure with Hellboy is the Ron Perlman movies.
Yeah, the Guillermo del Toro movies.
and I tried watching the reboot, and
I heard it sucked ass.
super bad.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because I like David Harbour, but holy fuck, like I don't like to be a hater, and I hated that movie.
I know. I usually have to force it out of you.
Yeah, it was
have to pull it out like a tapeworm.
It was crazy. Yeah, very strange. I don't know if it was just a lack of good direction or maybe a good script.
Lack of soul, I would say. But I mean, yeah, if you're going from like Guillermo del Toro directing, who's like a huge fan and a very accomplished creator, a very capable creator, some might even say a real artist, and then you hand it off to whoever directed it, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I just don't think they can.
Jovovich in it, yeah.
They can't match up. It's just not possible.
Yeah. With this game that's coming out, it's much closer to the graphic novel art than anything that's been represented on screen, which is cool to see, that representation. And I think the visual aesthetic is really what it has going for it, because whatever gameplay they showed, if that was gameplay, it was extremely basic. Like,
no interest.
Just gonna be I hope it's not just a beat 'em up, because I feel like the character has a lot more potential.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going for spectacle, ramp it up.
Yeah, it's not enough if that's what they're going for.
Not at all. No, cell shading. They introduced it like 20 years ago. You got to have something more. You got to at least be as good looking as Wind Waker in that case.
Yeah,
or it's fun.
Do a little more, yeah, or at least make sure the game is fun or interesting. Yeah, if it's only the fighting, not great. But maybe if they incorporate some like Wolf Among Us mechanics or some kind of narrative bent.
Yeah, Hellboy should be able to smash a glass in someone's skull every level.
Exactly. You decide when you use that fucking arm. Yeah, it'll make me feel good about it. All right. Moving on from that, there was Sea of Stars, that JRPG. It's been announced before, right? I've definitely seen footage of this. I've heard people getting excited about this.
The composer is exciting.
Mm-hmm. Guest composer. Interesting.
It should be everything I want. It's like a classic style JRPG. Very similar combat to like a combination of Chrono Trigger and the old Tales of games, it seems like.
That's what I was getting the impression of as well.
But something about it seems hollow to me, and I don't know why. Because it should be everything I want. Mm-hmm. But it just kind of gives me the feeling that there's not going to be a lot of substance to it. I don't know why.
Like it's just going to be like visual showcase.
Yeah, like kind of like a best of, like, hey, remember the SNES?
Okay.
Remember early PlayStation JRPGs? Remember Xenogears? Mm-hmm. That kind of thing.
Yeah, you're worried it's not going to really carve out anything of its own.
Yeah. And the menus also remind me of RPG Maker for some reason.
I get that. Kind of the whole aesthetic. Like, it was very detailed and well crafted, but there's a smoothness to it that was uncanny.
Yes. Yeah, like the RPG Maker games where they spend all their time making very good sprites, but then it still has like all default RPG Maker UI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and then the Xenoblade guy composing. That's another kind of recurring theme in this showcase, where there was a couple guest composers for interesting projects. I'm like, oh, I guess if that's how you want to make your extra money. Stray Souls, holy shit, yeah.
That game looked like complete dog shit.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, perfect,
that looked like Alan Wake combined with Resident Evil 5.
Yeah, it had such tonal whiplash. That's my worst trailer of the show.
I would say so. It
like,
also looked like Alan Wake 1.
Yeah, like Xbox 360 arcade graphics.
I'm not a big, graphic-aholic. I don't need amazing graphics to like a game, but
it's not getting away with it like Deadly Premonition does.
No, because Deadly Premonition had interesting characters, and they would act in weird ways, and it would have an interesting setting. And this just is it's like previous generation attempt at realism is what the graphics feel like.
Yeah, it was super weird.
Yeah, it's like RE5 PT and Alan Wake smashed together in a way where they didn't understand what made those games popular.
Yeah. And then you have Akira Yamaoka of Silent Hill fame composing for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll check out the soundtrack for sure.
Yeah, that's a waste of a talent there. But I'm glad you feel the same way, because that trailer just gave me like whiplash after the super melodramatic, like, he has to know.
I know, it was
and then it cuts to him like backflipping and shooting.
It's just like, it really felt like they played PT and they were like, I gotta make something if they're not gonna do it. And then they got bored and played Alan Wake, and they're like, oh man, there's some good ideas in here, we should do some of this. And then they got bored again and like played Resident Evil 5 and 6, and like, yeah, we should add some action here.
Action,
what were we trying to make again? What kind of game were we going for again? Horror? Survival horror, I think?
Strange. Very, very bizarre.
And the symbol too reminds me of that Blair Witch game that bombed.
Yeah.
How they're going for like that lattice symbol thing.
Mm-hmm. Some folkloric spooky thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cheap. Looked uninspired and bad. Worst game of the showcase for me was Stray Souls. But moving on. Do you ever play Rain World back in the day?
Not once. Never.
Okay. Are you familiar with the property at all, or no?
You're like a cat slug.
Yeah, and like a virtual ecosystem. It's in the backlog. I personally have not played it, but they announced a sequel or a follow-up, Rain World Downpour, today.
Yeah, it's another like bloaty Vania type of game, right?
Is it though? I don't know.
Isn't
if it's
it?
Like
It
if
looks
it's
like
that,
it
or
is.
if it's more of like a linear, like cinematic platformer.
That could be
the vibe
good.
I was getting, right? Because like I'm a big fan of like Another World, that like old ass game.
You mean Out of This World?
Yeah.
Yes, I know that one.
Yes. Yeah, super ahead of its time. I feel so frustrating to play. Holy fuck! If I didn't have save states, the game would be.
Yeah, you die a lot, horrifically.
Yeah. Horrifically, kind of the draw, I guess. But that was the vibe I got from Rain World, not Wayne's World. Just like, yeah, maybe it'll be level based. It doesn't seem to be like open ended. The new one just seems to have more creatures.
Yeah, different cat slugs. You get the Yoshi slug, you get the spiky slug, you get 3 others, I think.
Yeah. Did you ever play that that PS1 game?
Heart of Darkness.
Heart of Darkness.
I was actively trying not to mention it so we wouldn't start talking about it, because I wanted it to be like, hey, you ever play the spiritual successor Heart of Darkness with that kid who dies in the most fucked up, horrific ways you've ever seen?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, every time you make a mistake as the kid, he gets horrifically eviscerated.
Of course. Yeah, by the shadow monsters.
Yeah.
Okay, well, cinematic platformers, great. Rain World Downpour could be good. How are we doing on time?
Pretty good. We're kind of speedrunning it.
Okay.
I don't think it's even been 15 minutes, to be honest.
There you go. we're on our free Zoom period right now. Our arc. This is before we get the full power.
I'm gonna have to remember to edit this out. People just need to think we're taking intermissions, just because it's so much mental energy exerted. We need to recoup.
Exactly. We're coming back. We got too excited talking about Heart of Darkness. Incredible PlayStation.
Wait, sorry, guys. I got to pause for a sec. I got to look up Heart of Darkness Grisliest Deaths.
Compilation.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 2 hours long. Okay. Yeah, we got Stray Souls. That was horrible. Vampire Survivors. You played that one.
Too much.
Too much. Okay. Well, how does the thought of sharing the gambling addiction with a partner, in local co-op sound to you?
You know what? I would try it. I feel like it'd be a less sinful experience to waste time playing Vampire Survivors if you could rope people into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the issue with Vampire Survivors, like, you're playing it and then you look up and you're like, oh shit, it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, I was supposed to go to work 4 hours ago. I got fired. Well, I guess I'll keep playing since I'm unemployed. That was the whole danger. But I feel like if you have other people with you, then, maybe they'll get bored and be like, hey, it's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Can we do something else?
That, or they'll drown with you,
Yeah, and that's fine too. That way it's like almost justifiable in a way, or it's it's worthwhile. It's making memories instead of festering alone in the darkness.
It becomes socially acceptable when it's a shared activity.
Yeah, it's socially acceptable because you're socializing.
Okay. I mean, I just wanted to see if you were gonna jump back in, or if there was any.
Yes,
compulsion.
we can play. It's fine.
If it's online, then hell yeah. All right. And moving on, I've only got a few more, about 3 more. Was there anything like specifically you want to bring up, because it might line up with what I've got?
Ooh, you know what? It's hard to believe, but
Blake.
not really. I watched the whole thing. I would say mostly complaints, actually.
Okay.
Mostly complaints about the ads.
Oh, like the intermittent IGN stuff?
It is obscene to me that when we're at a point where the streaming services already inject ads into the broadcasts already, like it's just something that happens, you can't avoid it, that they still felt the need for the stream to be like, oh hey, don't forget to check out our podcast. Have you ever thought what a good movie is? We'll tell you. And the crazy twist is we don't even know what a good movie is. Isn't that wacky? Aren't we so zany? Like, oh my god, I don't even give a fuck about these games, but I give even less of a fuck about these ads. Like, this is torture.
Damn. Yeah, okay. I'm with you there. They got to make their money somehow,
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm in my current situation, I'm watching a lot of cable for the first time in about a decade.
Okay.
So it's the same kind of feeling of like, oh, this is not good, but I can stand to have this on. And then it's like, do you have horrible diarrhea? Do your kids never want to see you because you smell like shit? It's like, no, none of this applies to me. Is this who watches cable?
It is. It's definitely like
it's the same. The same for IGN. It's like, IGN viewers, do you want more vapid bullshit? Do you want more media about media?
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I was lucky enough to not be watching it completely live, so I was able to scrub through a lot of that stuff. But I almost knew you were gonna have something to say about the corpo speak.
I don't know. I was like entranced because when it ended, I didn't even realize it ended. When they just started playing the games, I was like, okay,
playing games. Yeah.
What's the next announcement here? Are they gonna?
What am I waiting for?
They're gonna do.
And then it just fizzled out.
Then it just ended.
Like, okay, I guess we're done playing this RPG. Damn, that's not even one bringing up hilariously. Yeah, not great, not great. IGN.
No.
Hard to watch. But what was cool to me from the presentation was that game Roman Sands Rebuild, right?
Oh yeah, actually, I agree.
Kind of interesting,
but only for one very specific reason.
Okay.
Because the voice they use to say the characters' names is the same voice they use in No More Heroes when you go to fight an assassin. That like super gravelly robot voice. It's like Dr. Peace. I heard that, and I was like, okay, so these guys clearly have played a Suda game. It gave me kind of a Grasshopper GameCube feeling a little bit with the way it did that. I'm sure the game itself will be nothing like that. I don't think it'll be any Killer 7, but
I don't think it's going to be a very frenetic experience.
No,
but the team behind it was cool. They did a game called Paratopic. Have you ever played that one or heard?
Never heard of it.
It's like it's a hard game to describe. It's kind
of
in
a
haunted
experience
PS1 genre
simulator?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Is a horror game?
It can be. It's not like overtly scary, but it's unsettling. There are horror themes.
So it's like Gone Home.
It's better than Gone Home because it's over in like 20 minutes.
Okay.
So it thankfully doesn't overstay its welcome, and it's experimental and it's weird, You know, it's not afraid to be weird and to not explain things.
Maybe I'll look. Was that also a game that was like and featuring ST Peach?
That's what Roman Sans Rebuild. Yeah, I don't know.
Who is that?
Who's ST Peach?
Is that just like a streamer?
Is it? Maybe. I didn't know if it was like a composer, like a DJ or something. Because I like the music they play.
Pull that up. See who that is.
ST Peach. All right. I'm gonna get like some OnlyFans shit or something.
How do you want to bet? Wait, do you want to bet?
Peach on Twitter. ST Peach.
Let's wait. Stop. Let's place a bet.
Oh, well, that's funny as fuck. Okay.
Let's place a bet. If she's a streamer, I win. If she's like huh?
All right. I feel like I'm gonna lose already.
If she's like a cosplayer or something,
okay,
or an OnlyFans person.
Okay, what if she's like a combination of all three?
We both lose.
Okay.
Is she?
I put ST Peach, and the first result was her Twitter. Hey guys, I'm officially on Fansly. Oh, I'm so excited to be able to share more with you all there. I'll be posting videos / photos of my workouts, daily updates, outfit try-ons, and more. And it's a lascivious photo in the mirror.
So Fansly is like...
Oh, but this is not even the most recent. This is a tweet from January 16th, 2022. It's just the top result. That's funny.
What are the social links? Is there a Twitch in there?
Let's see. They got a link tree. Oh, here we go. Oh, they got twitchtv.stpeach.
All right, I win.
What? You just said if they're like a combination, they got all of it.
Well, I mean, Fansly, that's pretty legit.
Nah, they got the OnlyFans.
Oh, they do?
Everything. Yeah.
Oh, well, we both lose.
Both lose.
Well, time to utilize the public humiliation channel to figure out the punishment for that one.
There you go. Yeah, both of us will partake. Okay, and now I got two more games of kind of diminishing excitement, if I'm being frank. From the showcase, we got Texas Chainsaw Massacre game.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even like Dead by Daylight, so I can't imagine playing this.
Yeah, I just want to know like why this is the formula. Like when you take one of these licenses and it's like, let's just make it a weird asymmetrical PvP.
Yeah, like Friday the 13th, the game.
Friday the 13th.
Didn't that just like end permanently?
Yeah, there was like legality over the.
They lost
IP.
the license.
Yeah, some stupid shit.
So everyone who like paid money for it just wasted every dollar.
I think I still have access to it. I can still download it on my PS4. I just don't think there's like active.
Is there a single player for it or something? No, right?
The very bare bones.
It's just like don't get killed by Jason.
Play with bots.
Don't let Jason get you.
But yeah, similarly, like the Evil Dead game, you know, it was more action focused, but it was still this like, you know,
Dead by Daylight clone.
Yeah, it was more fleshed out. It was like in between Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th.
Yeah. A little closer to Dragon Ball The Breakers, that one.
Right? Objective-based escape. And then even the Predator game. Like, that's like another old IP that was brought up and then just made into asymmetrical multiplayer.
Which is weird, because the Alien vs. Predator games already exist.
Yeah. Yeah. And those, you know, they're PvP still, but it's different enough. Yeah. Yeah, with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know, watching the trailer, I was honestly more disturbed by like the regular hillbilly folk.
Oh, just the guy with the knife?
Just the guy stabbing the girl. I was like, this unsettles me.
Yeah, because it's just a balding middle-aged man.
Mm-hmm. It's like a mundane act of violence, yeah.
Yeah, Leatherface is kind of like, you know how people are like, oh, I love Chucky, he's so cute. I love when he tells the kid he's going to kill his mom. He's crazy, you know?
Uh-huh.
Whereas, just a middle-aged guy who hates you and wants to kill you is maybe a little too real, you know?
Yeah.
A little less fantastical.
Most certainly.
It's kind of like Pinhead, or was that his name, the guy from Hellraiser?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pinhead or Freddy or all that. They've all got like a certain charm because they're like fantasy creatures in a way.
Yeah, they're designed in a way.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah, you're
things
not
that could
designing
not
a fucking
exist
middle-aged man. Yeah.
in reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't even think they showed any like actual game. Oh, maybe they did. Maybe like chasing around or something. But
They just
it
showed a
was
couple
mostly
of
just
executions. As far
executions. Yeah, that was like a main draw of the Friday the 13th game. Wasn't crazy about that. Although those are so over the top. You know, have you?
Why don't
seen,
they make a Nightmare on Elm Street game?
I mean, that would be even sillier. I think.
Isn't he in Dead by Daylight?
I probably.
Did you know he was in Mortal Kombat like 9?
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 9 has a few interesting guest characters.
Yeah.
Leatherface included, and Jason Voorhees, and the Xenomorph.
And Kratos, right?
That's 10. Fuck. See, now I'm getting them crossed. We need the experts.
I think one of them has like Ghost of Sparta Kratos.
That's 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, PS3. Yeah. And then 10 had all the old 80s horror icons for some reason.
Is that the one with Terminator or is that 11?
11 has Terminator. And Rambo. John Rambo.
Why?
And RoboCop.
Why?
I couldn't tell you. Oh, because it's Warner Brothers. Probably.
Oh, yeah, that does make sense.
Right? And it has the Joker in it, yeah. So it's just like...
Right.
I don't know. Mortal Kombat is so, like, divorced, I feel, from whatever
it was at some point.
Yeah.
Yes.
I recently...
we'll be talking about that next week.
Exactly.
When,
I reinstalled
next
MK11
guest...
to kind of refresh my memory, and I kind of was like taken back, like, oh, this is a dark place. I don't know if I like this.
After playing all these other Japanese fighting games, this one seems a little, I don't know.
Yeah, something about it. But yeah, we'll be talking about that next time with special guests. But moving back to the ID at Xbox Showcase, I'm fucking forgetting what it's called. I think the last announcement, and I can get through this in like 5 minutes, I'm sure, was how do you say this? Karateka?
Karateka.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a game. It was the making of.
So there's going to be like a documentary, but they're also releasing it with like a remaster that includes like 4 versions of the game to play.
It was an NES game? Or an Amiga game or something?
Yeah. So it was made by Jordan Mechner, who eventually would make the Prince of Persia games.
Oh.
Like the original. So I think that's really cool. I think that was his first project.
It was like, he made it by himself, correct? That's what they were going for. I do like that. I always appreciate someone with no skill whatsoever, no business making a game.
Yeah, utilizing
I think those are always
rotoscoping.
really interesting. A lot of my favorite games are made by people who just kind of played games and were like, you know what, I bet I could do this.
Yeah, no, super inspiring stuff. Jordan Mechner was like one of the first names in the industry I remember learning about from watching like historical video game programming on G4. As like a 9-year-old.
I mean, I've never heard of it, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, it should be cool, you know. Rotoscoped. He was taking karate classes at the time and just wanted to like incorporate that into what he was doing, so had the know-how. Got his dad to make music. Pretty sure his brother helped him provide like footage of everything. So from a preservationist standpoint, very cool. From a game standpoint, still cool. Not like groundbreaking, but
perhaps a bit dated.
Yeah.
But what can you do?
What can you do?
Kind of numbskulled, kind of empty-headed to be like, oh, this Amiga game don't look too great. This Apple II game isn't on par with Doom 3.
All right. Wow. That was a speedrun episode.
Yeah, we got through everything already, huh?
We got through everything. Yeah, I mean, the only thing really, if you want to talk about, is fucking whatever. But you know, that covered the showcase.
Yeah, that's.
I don't believe anyone had any.
No, we had questions.
To write in. Oh, we do.
We do have questions.
Okay, we could take a break.
We should probably let's take a brief intermission. Let's get a nice I forgot fucking shit. I had a can out here that I was gonna do a bit with. I'll edit in here. I'm
Nice
gonna forget.
beverage, yeah.
I'm gonna forget. But
go.
I'll have a. Yeah, hang on. A nice, refreshing Liquid Death sparkling water.
There you go.
Now
Stay
available
hydrated.
on clearance at your local 7-Eleven.
There you go.
Liquid Death.
All right.
Drink it up. I believe is their slogan.
I think so. Our first sponsor.
Yeah.
Send the check.
They don't even know it.
Okay, and we're back from that short break. Just finishing up talking about the ID at Xbox show, and now we're going to be bringing up some questions from our listeners.
Yes. Burning questions finally answered, like a beautiful doctor giving you that shot of penicillin to cure your horrible gonorrhea.
Yeah, your horrible fucked up eye.
Yeah.
They just stuck the needle in there and they drained me.
They lanced
It was
it.
great. Yeah.
They got a bee to crawl on it, and they stung it, and all the pus just flew out.
It was horrific. I will never look at doctors the same way again. All right, from Jesse. Jesse! Unironic question. This isn't even a question. Thoughts on visual novels and their status as video games?
If they're good, they're video games. I would say the adventure games in particular, or the visual novels / adventure games for the Game Boy Advance and the DS were the best because they had both very decent, compelling, not even decent, stories that I still consider to be very good, very enjoyable, and can replay and enjoy. And I look forward to forgetting them so I can enjoy them again. The Phoenix Wright series, 999, they were all exceptional, I feel like. Or even going back to the Game Boy Advance, what was it? Oh, Hotel Dusk was on the DS also, actually.
That's that kind of grayscale one, right?
Yeah, everything's like a pencil sketch. It's the real 100% hand drawn game. They did it first. All right, back up, Mud Dawn.
Mud Dawn. Okay, what I was gonna ask you, what's the oldest visual novel you think you played? Because it's
The oldest one's probably
a genre that's
Tsukihime.
been around. Okay.
Yeah. I played Tsukihime a long time ago. And not for any nasty, perverse reasons, because those games have zero sex appeal, I gotta say. The writing and the art, not good. But the world interested me, and the idea that there was a game that actually had choices that mattered, I feel like it's something that games still struggle with and can't really replicate. But that's the whole appeal of a visual novel, since there's no actual gameplay. It's all just the storytelling. You, as a person, making these choices in the dialogue that change the whole course of the game is something that's very interesting and something that's very hard, pretty much impossible to replicate if you have actual gameplay.
Yeah. If you have those constraints.
Yeah, even Phoenix Wright even has no diverging narrative. It's either you do everything correctly or you don't and you lose. 999 does do a good job of diverging, but it's the same deal. Everything that's not the best ending is obviously a bad ending.
You're always replaying and working toward the perfect run.
Yeah, the idea of having routes, the idea of having genuine, real replay value, that when you play the game again, it is a completely different experience, and having it feel like you're doing something new, that you're seeing in a complete other side of the world, is something I feel like visual novels are the only thing that are able to accomplish that. And some adventure games also, some point-and-click adventure games are able to do that as well, since they're honestly kind of sparse on the gameplay themselves. So yeah, visual novels are definitely games, and I would say that, maybe hard for some people to believe, but I think that some visual novels are actually more enjoyable games than some AAA titles.
Oh, I'm totally with you there.
Yeah. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I mean, mostly agreement. Basically 100% agreement. Visual novels are great because they're unconstrained by
Demand.
Yeah, right. And you can have consequences that are really reverberating because it's all theater of the mind. You know, you don't have to show
Yes.
it, right? You're just telling it.
In a way, I do feel like visual novels are a genre that is negatively impacted by adding voice acting. I don't think that it should have voice acting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you can't picture these characters, what they sound like in your mind, then perhaps you shouldn't play visual novels. Perhaps you should stick to something.
I think
Maybe
voice acting's fine.
I don't think so.
It can become grating, I think, upon like repeats, or if you want to imagine a little differently, you can always turn it off.
I think
there's-
for that genre in particular, it does ruin the immersion
Really?
for me.
Okay.
Music is
can't
fine.
I can't imagine playing like Disco Elysium without like the soundscape.
Well,
of the
that's
dialogue.
different because that's all.
But I guess it's much more of an RPG than
yes,
a visual novel.
That's more of the perfect CRPG, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, yeah. As someone who enjoys like, I loved reading choose your own adventure books as a kid. Like visual novels scratch that same kind of itch.
Exactly.
And yeah, replayability that feels worthwhile, you know, and it's not just like a fucking road.
Replayed the entire
whatever.
game
Yeah.
for a slightly different ending.
It's good. Yeah, mostly it's the lack of constraints. I think that
Yeah.
great.
I mean, was it Shu Takumi? He was only able to make Phoenix Wright because he was, such a big success working at Capcom that they just pretty much said, "All right, you have free reign to make whatever you want. We're going to allow you to do whatever you want, no matter how insanely stupid we think the idea is." And he said, "You know what? I think I'd like to make a game where you're a lawyer, just trying to make it in the world." And they said, "Oh man, why did we
Do
say?
we have to?
Why did we say you can make anything you want?"
It's funny. Okay. Yeah. Any closing thoughts on visual novels?
There should be more of them. I think Americans should try their hand at it, but if they do, I would hope that they have the same degree of like passion and care for the genre to actually make something interesting instead of either rehashing their favorite Japanese ones or just kind of using it as a front to be lazy and tell a very linear story.
Yeah.
Which is what I feel like it could very easily become. It's just a lot of
Nature
nothing,
of it.
a lot of boring nothing. It could be that very easily. I mean, it really depends on who's writing it.
I'd say if you want like kind of Western visual novels, the only examples I can think of right now are Paradise Killer, and then that one we just spoke about today, fucking Roman Sands Rebuild. Looks like it's gonna be
If it is,
gonna have some visual novel. I think they advertised it as such in the trailer. So
I do think that there's something in my mind that bias where even if it is a genuinely good game, if it's not Japanese, I'll kind of instinctively have some derision for it, or
damn.
That I won't have to overcome. The game will just have to work a little bit harder for me to accept it. Like a eternally disapproving father when the son finally scores the 100th touchdown, and they're like, okay, maybe they weren't a mistake. Yeah. So all it has to do is be the best visual novel ever, and then I will think that American visual novels are just as valid, just as good as the most bizarre, wonky fucking fan disc from Comic Head.
There you go. It's like the Olympics. The real esport Olympics should be countries developing their own.
I know, yeah. It should be a speed run to make the best visual novel instead of fucking what is it? Just Dance World Championships.
Oh my god! Did you see any of that?
No, of course I didn't watch that.
Oh my god! Hilariously, someone I follow, they kind of had a rundown of it, and it was just the most nightmarish, stupid bullshit. Where like they just had so many technical difficulties, they weren't even playing the game by the end.
So they're just dancing on a stage.
They're just dancing on stage. It's like, what the fuck is the point? There's no video game. There's no esport involved at all.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm, particularly surprised. I feel like
what happens when you let Ubisoft in at the fucking Olympics.
I mean, I do feel like it's also like ESPN's like, yeah, I mean, it's the Olympics, so they gotta do something physical. I don't care if you put E in front of it. Make them move around, make them shake around, make them do something. Even the shot put guys, they move their arm, they stick it out, make them do something.
They want to be on the ESPN. Yeah, we'll see them moving. Okay, let's see. Oh, follow up to this visual novel question. I think you may have answered already. From Origin, what is the best visual novel? You did answer in the chat, but I'll let you see if you remember what you.
Probably the first or third Phoenix Wright game, or
okay, yeah,
or 999, or Virtue's Last Reward. If you take them as individual games, if you were to take them, actually no, that's not true because Virtue's Last Reward is unfortunately marred by the expectation of a sequel that ended up being kind of a wet fart in the face, kind of ended up sharding in my face after years of waiting.
Really?
Yeah. So as just a purely standalone experience, probably Phoenix Wright 1.
Okay. In the chat, you mentioned Phoenix Wright 3.
Yeah, but Phoenix Wright 3 is you can only really appreciate if you play the entire Phoenix Wright saga.
I get that. I'm totally one to recognize the importance of like initial outings.
Yes, it would almost be like starting with Yakuza 4, and then when Kiryu shows up, going like, "Who the fuck is this
guy?" That's funny.
Whoever might do that.
Who would do that? Certainly not us. All right. Yeah, I gotta say, personally, for me, I can't think of and probably 999, right? Like the visual novel that I experienced, like that one was cool. The twists were cool. The
concepts, diverging plot lines. Mm-hmm. You learn about prosopagnosia.
Yeah.
You look it up. You're like, oh my god, it's real.
Great characters too. Like, what was his name? Snake.
Yeah,
Snake was awesome.
Snake, Santa.
I fucking love that shit.
Ace, Snake, Santa, Clover. June? No.
June.
Junpei, isn't
friend?
it?
Oh,
Junpei, then June.
Yeah.
7. I'm just gonna stop listing them.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, and it looks like those are the only questions from. Yeah. Those are the only questions from this week, or from the previous time we recorded.
Is that right? Wow. I can't believe this. No, actually, I can.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I filled up a lot of time with my opinions.
No, that's good. That's totally like I'm super into that. I really gotta think more about my answers to some of this stuff.
Oh, I didn't think at all. That was all off the cuff, baby. Straight off the dome. I'm just freestyling.
Oh shit.
I'm just chilling out. I'm maxing and relaxing. I just always have that, sitting on the that scum I'm skate raping off of my mind is that powerful, unrefined, pure petroleum, unleaded.
Thank you. And I suppose with that, that'll be this week's episode of Video Ditch. As far as if you're just tuning in, if this is somehow your first episode and you need to know our social media handles, you can find me at the Super SammyCom on Twitter. You'll find me in the Discord. If you want to engage directly, ask me what my favorite visual novel is. And if you want to find Nick, you can find him at...
Yeah, somebody stop me. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. I even tweeted once the other day. Very exciting stuff. Normally I don't do that. but it's some dark force overcame me, and I couldn't resist. So take what you will from that.
Yeah, you got to check it out for yourselves.
Yeah.
That reminds me, we have a YouTube channel now.
Oh yeah,
So,
we do
if
now.
you want to enjoy the video ditch in cool video format, that's something that exists now and will hopefully persist as we continue to keep doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would say for the previous episode, you watch the video up until the halfway point, then maybe just leave it on but don't look at it because the video's a little messed up. This one will be fine though, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We're all at the top of our game, doing the best we can.
And episode after this, I do have confirmation that we will be recording with our next set of guests, and we will be talking about fighting games. What makes them good? Is it being Japanese? Some would say yes.
Some would say yes. I feel like there are plenty of bad Japanese ones still, but
Yes, but even though they're bad, they're still good.
it's true.
Except for that.
We'll cover it all and
Yes,
more
I'll get into
next
it.
week with the fellas. Until then, thank you for listening. See you next time.
Yes, ditch on.